Hello, today we're going to look at solving equations which involve brackets. So there's an example on the screen now. 2 bracket x plus 2 equals 6. Now remember that means 2 times everything that's inside the brackets is equal to 6. So there's two different ways we could solve this. We could divide by 2 and we'd have x plus 2 equals 3, and then we could subtract 2 from both sides, which will give us x equals 1. I'm not going to write that method down because that wouldn't be very helpful at some of the other questions we're going to go on to later. So we're going to practice the method that is going to support us later on. And that would be to multiply out the brackets. So 2 times x, 2 times 2. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is plus 2, so it's plus 4. And that equals 6. Now what we need to do is collect all of our terms together. So we want to have all of our variables, our x parts together. Just now we do, so that's good. We also want to have all of our number parts, our constants, together. But at the moment we've got 4 on this side and 6 on the right hand side. So we need to move this 4 onto the other side, so we need to subtract 4 from here. You have to subtract 4 from the other side as well to keep it a balanced equation. So our next line is going to be 2x because we haven't done anything with x's. 4 subtract 4 is 0, so I can just leave that as a space. 6 subtract 4 is 2. So we now know that 2x's are equal to 2. We want to find what 1x is. So we divide by 2 to find what 1x is. 2x divided by 2 is 1x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the solution to this equation is x equals 1. And the steps that we took were, first of all, we multiplied the brackets. So we multiplied out the brackets. Then we collected our terms. Now collecting terms is just a fancy way of putting all the fancy way of saying put all the letters on one side and the numbers on the other side. That's all we've done there. We've ended up with our 2x's on the left and our numbers on the right. Then we divide in this case to find how many is 1x. It may be that you need to multiply. If you end up with half an x, you would need to multiply 2 to find out how much a whole x is. In this example, we had to divide. Okay. And this next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to have to be careful because we've got a negative in there, x minus 7. So our equation is 3 times everything inside the brackets. So 3 times x minus 7 equals 9. So 3 times x, 3 times minus 7. Remember the negative is attached to the number here. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 7 is going to be negative 21. 3 times 7 is 21, and it's still negative minus 21. And that equals 9 because we haven't done anything to the right hand side. Okay, now let's collect our terms because we've multiplied out our brackets now. We've done the first step. Second step is collect all the terms. So we have all our x's together. We've got 3 x's here. I've got a negative 21 here and a plus 9 here. We want to get all of these together. So I want to remove that negative 21 from this side. So I'm going to add 21. Just remember to get rid of it here, I need to do the opposite. So if that is negative 21, I have to add 21 on, which means I have to add 21 to the other side. 3x is still 3x. Negative 21 plus 21 leaves me with 0. 9 plus 21 is 30. So we know that 3x's are 30. To find 1x, we divide by 3. We need to do the same on both sides. 3x divided by 3 is just x. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So our solution to the equation at the top here is x equals 10. The next one. So again, you need to be a little bit careful with this one, because this means 5 times everything inside the brackets. So 5 times 2x plus 5 is equal to 65. So two things to do to multiply out: 5 times 2x and 5 times 5. So 5 times 2 is 10, so 5 times 2x is going to be 10x. 5 times 5, remember it's plus 5 here, 5 times 5 is 25. And that still equals 65 because we haven't changed anything here. Now we need to collect our terms. We'll have our 10x's together. We have 25 on this side and 65 over here. So I don't want this 25 beside my x's, so I need to take that away. So we subtract 25. You have to do the same to the other side to keep it balanced. I haven't done anything with 10x, so that comes down. 25 subtract 25 leaves me with nothing. 65 subtract 25 is 40. I've got 10x's, I want to know how much 1 is. So 10x's are 40. Divide by 10. Divide by 10. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So x equals 4 is the solution to the equation at the top. And I hope you can see that we're doing the same steps each time. We're multiplying out the brackets, we're collecting our terms, and then we're dividing to find 1x. Okay. The reason that I asked you to multiply out the brackets in the previous few is because once you reach a question like this, the process that we could have done with the previous one. So if I go back to this one, I'll just do a little line. I could have divided by 5 at the start, as I described verbally in the first example. I could divide by 5 here, and then that would give me 2x plus 5, so that 5 cancels with this one. 65 divided by 5 is 13. I could subtract 5 from both sides, and that leaves me, should have changed my pen colour there. That leaves me with 2x equals 8. Divide by 2. X equals 4. So you can see that you end up with the same answer. But this process on the right that I've done here, that wouldn't work on the next example I'm going to show you. We have to use the one on the left, which is why I've been using that as my example. Okay, so the reason that it wouldn't work is that if we divided by 3 here, this 3 only multiplies what's in the bracket. So we would end up with 4x minus 6 over 3, and it just gets really confusing if we do that. It's much simpler if we just stick with our normal process and multiply out our brackets first. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 3 is going to be negative 9, because 3 times 3 is 9, so 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. We haven't done anything with the other parts yet, so I've still got a 4x, a minus 6, and that all equals 20. So we've done the first part, we've multiplied out our brackets. Now we're going to collect our terms. So how many x's do I have here? I've got 3x, no x's there, another 4x. So 3x and 4x is 7x. Okay, so that's how many x's I've got there. I've got negative 9 and negative 6. So minus 9, subtract another 6, gives me minus 15, because it's started with a negative number and we've got more negative when we've subtracted. So we have minus 15, and that still equals 20, because we haven't done anything to that side yet. Okay, now we need to do a little bit more collecting. We've now got all our x's together, but we've got numbers on both sides. So to cancel out this minus 15, so that we can get our x's on their own, we have to add 15. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other, so it's add 15. So that gives us 7x minus 15 plus 15 is nothing, is 0. 20 plus 15 is 35. So 7x's are 35. We want to find 1x, so we need to divide by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. Okay, so the more complicated examples that you're going to practice later in today's exercise will ask you to do this part here, where you have to multiply out the bracket and then you have to collect everything together before you can move anything about. Don't try and move things across from one side to the other until you've tidied it up. Simplify it as much as you can so that you can see what you're doing first. If you try to add 9 and then add 6, there's a chance you could get confused. You're much better to group it together and then do it in one go. Okay, hopefully that's helpful.